Hello, hello, hello. This is Corey Thompson from Dice Tower Dish Play to Z Dice Gen Con Crafty, things like that.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 402, and we're recording this on January 6th, 2026. Board Games Insider, powered by Board Game Geek. Corey, good to see you in the new year. We had just recorded a few days ago in the new year, but now another
Yeah.
episode. Ignacy has promised to be here next week, and we're promising, though we're lazy and we'll see, to be doing the predictions episode
It's a
for,
strong thing if you're promising. That
yeah,
means we actually have to do it.
that means we have to do it. It's the most amount of work we put into this podcast for the whole year. So we're committed. I wanted to say it. You actually said say it, and then we're committed to do it. I'm like, yeah,
I
but we're
know.
lazy. But we're lazy. So I would give it a 75% chance that we actually will do it. That's pretty
Perfect.
good, right? It's a that's a pretty good chance. Anyway, what's going on at Casa de Dr. Thompson?
Well, we're kind of finishing up. They've had a lot of people over. We had an amazing weekend and New Year of playing games. Lots of people going. Man, all I have is coffee. Coffee boy, coffee boy. Thank you. Thank you very
So,
much, sir.
for those
Give you a little
who
back rub
are
there,
not
as you guys
watching,
probably.
Daryl Andrews is there, and he has just brought Corey a cup of coffee,
Thank you, sir.
and then has massaged his back a little bit, and now is heading out of the room.
And it
Which
is amazing because it is 6:30 in the morning,
and Daryl
and
Andrews is
I
up.
I think Daryl Andrews is still up. I don't think he woke up for this.
That
So,
Daryl Andrews is notorious for being the last person out of everything, every event, every gaming session, every convention. He's just stays up late and goes long, and it's great to see him again. So everybody
so,
should be
and
watching, and you can see Daryl Andrews
this
hand
is
Corey
a
coffee.
repeat performance. I do want to say that a while ago, Daryl gave me coffee, and he demanded I'm doing it again.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this was his idea. I didn't bully him into doing this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
So
somebody will
as you can
believe that.
see, this is the tail end, and Daryl is the last of all the people who've been at the house playing games. We had an amazing day yesterday. We went to the premier board game store in Santa Rosa, California, Goblin Brothers, which is an absolutely amazing board game store.
Nice.
Can't can't scream their shout outs enough. Daryl and I went and just picked through used games, new games, and I may have bought 6 or 8 new games for the house. It's really hard to say. Um, and
Very
then
nice.
we found an absolutely incredible Jewish deli just around the corner from the board game store that is one of the finest delis I've eaten at.
Nice.
Um, so really fantastic day yesterday. I've also played a ton of games. Some of the standouts, I've played a whole bunch of Recall, which is the follow-up to Revive that Recall released at Essen this year. So, Recall, of course, it's from the team of Helga Meissner, Christian Ostby, Kiddo Svensson, and Anna Vermland. Of course, I remember that all off the top of my head and was not reading it off the screen.
Not reading it. I didn't see you reading that.
I'm that good. The other one, which was really amazing, is Johnny Pack, who was over the house with everybody else, brought me an old, hard to find card game that was one of the early Bruno Catala card games called Mao, M-O-W. I don't think it's Mo because there's no lawn mowing, and this is a French card game. I think it's Mao, which is actually the sound that cows make.
Mao.
And it is a beautiful card game with cartoon cows on them, and the cows have little swarms of flies over them. You build a line of these dirty cows, And if you can't put play into the line, you have to take the line, and the flies are embarrassment points. And it was a really fun little card game. Had a fantastic time with it.
You're gonna get
Uh,
canceled for saying bad things about cows. They're all dirty animals. You're gonna get canceled for that.
my
I'm
professional
canceling you.
opinion as a
As a
veterinarian
veterinarian, they're pretty dirty
is
animals.
cows are dirty. Pet cows. I've seen some pet cows that are pretty clean, but this card game is about dirty cows.
Wow.
The other one I played that was really, really fun that I just want to do a shout out for is Johnny Pack brought a pre-production copy of Flow, which is the new title coming from Fantasia Games and designer Henry Audubon. And it is an adventure cutesy animal. Go out into the world and collect resources to build, then go to town and get items and potions and then fight monsters and build up your levels. And it was really fun. I had a really good time with it. Flow was a successful Kickstarter a while ago, and it's reaching the tail end. So this was a final playtesting before it goes to print.
Didn't you play a production copy of an unreleased, unannounced game while you were there with people? Don't show it. Do not pick it up and show it. I'm under NDA. You can't do that. It's come. Oh, okay. The coffee you can drink. He's picking up his cup. You scared me for a second. Yes. It,
I I played an unannounced game which I felt being unannounced and cannot go on video. I thought I would just not mention it,
well,
but
you played the
it
production
it
copy of it. You've actually played
I
a
did.
copy that I don't have.
Yes, I touched it. I
Yes.
licked it.
For
It's
the
mine now.
The official statement is, and I can say it, is that the announcement of said game from Jeff Engelstein and Stephen Bonacore with Office Dog, Asmodee Office Dog, that Bree Woodward brought to Corey's house because she's the creative director for Office Dog. We're going to announce the game. Asmodee is announcing the game at the Gamma Expo, which is in 3 months, almost to the day. So you'll get more information.
It
Oh, 2 months,
was
2 months, 2 months.
it was beautiful. It was
Thank
fun.
you.
And
That's
you
nice.
are the worst human being at keeping secrets.
I am the no.
Here I am being all cool and calm and not talking about it.
I am specifically the best human being at keeping secrets when I'm told not to say anything. I have literally not said anything about this, except to certain people who are allowed to know, like you, because Bree brought it for you to
Quick
play.
question for the listeners. For how many minutes now has Stephen not been talking about
Oh
it?
my God. Never mind. Keep going. Keep going. That's all right.
All right. And then, so it was a really fantastic weekend. Lots of amazing gameplay. Upcoming things, of course, I'm getting ready to go to uh, Geekway to the West Mini.
Nice.
And I literally will be leaving tomorrow or Thursday. Thursday, I'll be flying. So it is crazy close. And then ahead of that, there's a
Nice.
trip to Seattle I'm doing in February, Gamma in March, and then I'm really excited about heading to Portugal for LyraCon in March.
Very, very cool. I'm very jelly about the Lyricon, whatever it is called in
I
Portugal.
know I pronounce it
I
terribly.
I was invited too, but I'm literally going to be on the other side of the world. Or actually, for March, I just have too many things going on. I can't make it. Literally can't make it. I'm somewhere else during some of those dates. So have a great time there. Have a great time at Geekway Mini because Geekway Maine, which I've been to several times, is fantastic. The best convention in the greater middle of the country, I guess we're gonna say, right? It's really in the middle versus like Gen Con is much closer to the East Coast. Anyway, over here at the Podfather of Gaming, I'm going to talk about a little bit. The only gaming that I've really done is role playing gaming. Yoo-hoo! And I haven't mentioned my D&D campaign in a while, so we're going to talk quickly about that one. This is the fourth campaign. Same people have been playing since the beginning of COVID, early COVID. Alex Schmidt, Julie Ahern, Dustin Wessel, and Rachel Blasky, all industry or former industry people. And enjoying it immensely. The funny thing is, we had to play this game, this particular session, and only two of the player characters could make it. I was one of them. I've never played a D&D game where, except for like one when I was a kid and I was doing it just for my brother, like a one DM and one player. I've never played when there's only two player characters. It ran so smoothly because everyone gets a little more, interaction with the DM and the surroundings. So kudos for Dustin Wessel, who's done a great job doing this, and Julie and I had a great time. Who knows? Maybe there'll be more of these very small party things when other members can't make it. Tonight, we get back into again the One Ring second edition, where Corey is playing
Yeah.
a. I'm gonna say you're playing a mostly jovial dwarf, not a curmudgeonly one. I like it. I
I
like
have
it.
trouble being curmudgeonly.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yes.
But I don't have a problem being brooding and mysterious. I'm playing a ranger of the north, so that is
Very
mine.
brooding.
Paula, who's over there in the other room, is playing a hobbit of the Took family, and we have Maggie Ryan, who is playing another hobbit. And I forgot the family of her last name. And then Alex is our lore master, as they're called in that game. Really having a great time with that because everyone knows how much I love the Tolkien world, and
Oh,
system
it's
really
fantastic.
this system really brings out that feel versus the super powered feel that you end up getting in D&D. Fantasy of different kinds, and they're both great. Quickly on my travels, staying home for another almost 2 weeks, I guess. Fly out to New Orleans to see some friends at a house event there. From there, I have to fly to Atlanta for a very quick non-gaming thing, just an overnight thing. Back to Florida for one full day, plus like, 2 half days, one full day, and then we head to Australia/New Zealand for 31 days. Wow.
That I'm jealous about. That sounds amazingly fun.
Fun fact, we leave on January 29th. Paula hopefully can correct me if I'm wrong on that. We don't arrive until January 31st. So it feels
Yep.
like it's 2 days. You're 20 hours in the air, plus you lose the day across the time zone. The what's it
Yeah.
called? The thing that you cross,
Dateline.
the date line. Thank you. Um, and then on the way back, we arrive the same day date. So we leave on February 27th. Get back what is effectively 4 hours later.
I
Isn't
know, I
that so
love that.
crazy? We leave, it's so crazy. We leave at like noonish on the 28th, 27th of February and get back at like 4 p.m. On the same day.
I often get that when I go to Europe. I'll arrive on the way home. I'll arrive, an hour or two after I leave.
That's so mind-bogglingly hard to deal with. And then I immediately go like to Gamma like one day later. So because I
You are going to be a zombie.
zombie and I really should not be doing Gamma, but
Good
the
thing you're
announce
so good at staying up late and missing sleep.
I'm really not good at staying up late and missing sleep. uh, so that will be interesting. That will be interesting. All right, everybody, let's get to the event deck. All right, Corey, what do we have here? I think the first one you put here, it's about some changes over at WotC.
Yeah, I really find it interesting when there are news stories about WotC changes because they tend to be a little closed door about who's there, who's working, and I know there's been a lot of turnover of people. But Wizards of the Coast
The Ghost?
has Wizards of the Ghost, which fits along with
Yep.
um, they have just hired longtime D&D writer James Haeck as senior game designer, bringing one of the fifth edition's most prolific contributors fully in-house as the D&D team continues to evolve. This is from Polygon, which is a wonderful news source, mostly for video game and role-playing. Every once in a while, we get like a nice little crossover story, so I'm always checking out what they have to say.
Very,
Uh,
very cool.
yeah. So Heck announced the news on December 31st on a podcast. And it's congratulations. So we're getting a new team really getting into their stride over at WotC, and we're expecting great things.
Yep, yep, yep. I like what they're doing with the new D&D. For big, more powerful gaming. That's the thing. I mean, they are the thing. So hopefully that's going to continue doing great work there with kind of their new set of rules, sort of that they introduced in
Yeah,
2024. We also have something that I believe Ignasi threw into here, right? And this is
I'm almost positive.
because you didn't do it, and I
No,
didn't do it, so it's got to be
it's the
Ignasi.
ghosts, the gremlins.
The gremlins of our Google Doc. And this
And
has to do with, go
yeah,
ahead, please.
I was going to say I'm fully aware that I tend to be very, very North America centric when I'm talking about news
Yep.
and when I'm talking about gaming as a hobby. So it's really interesting. This is a state of the business update from Let's Play Games,
Well,
which
let's
is
let's
one of the bigger. Yeah,
yep. Go
you can
ahead.
go.
Yeah, let's mention who they are, right? Let's Play Games is a large distributor, one of the biggest, maybe the biggest in Australia, and they also have retail stores as well, I believe. So they're a big player. And Corey, what happened that seemed
Yeah.
to be interesting there?
So it's a long, detailed update newsletter of what's going on, and generally it's all good news. So Let's Play Games grew by 32% in 2025, which is fantastic. Uh, Most of it, the local game stores have driven, and CCGs seem to be one of the big things driving their market. So it's good news. The company has also acquired a couple new distributors, Even Toys and Games and Holdson, which is a old school puzzle distributor. They've been acquired, so everything's going great for Let's Play Games.
Yeah, and the I think maybe this is it looks like this is them possibly acquiring more market share than simply the same people buying more from them because they specifically state that um, their sales to retailers to unique strong sales growth from our most important customer group, the local game stores, was driven in part by a 25% increase in the number of unique LGSs, local game
Local games,
stores,
yeah.
right? That they were supplying. So they're supplying more stores. So they're gobbling a little bit of extra market share. By the way, this came directly from them, it looks like.
Yeah, this
And
is their newsletter, their year end How We Do a newsletter. Um, they also had a really good time with PAX Australia, so it was nice seeing a little view into that big show.
anything
So,
there that you can point out from PAX? Obviously, PAX Unplugged here is huge. Did anything there strike a chord with you that you saw?
uh, it's just for me, mostly it was nice knowing that the industry is doing well across the globe and that they have been involved in so many places. There was a little tidbit of their involvement at Gen Con, which was all positive. And then the various shows, which I don't know a whole lot about. PAX, of course, I know of PAX, but I've never been to PAX Australia. Uh, and their other big shows, Smash Supernova and Aussie Comic Con. So looks like things are going great.
Very, very cool. Congratulations on a great year over at Let's Play Games. And now we have a very interesting story, which is a multifaceted, we're going to say, and it comes from Stonemaier Games. Why don't you introduce what this story is about, Dr. Thompson?
So first of all, just to mention quickly, Stonemaier did a video conference just a few days ago. Jamie did a video blog, and it was interesting because it was a new style of marketing from Stonemaier. In the past, they've always said, we have a brand new game we're announcing, and you can buy it tomorrow. They've been right up to the last minute, very secretive until about a week or two before, and then they allow their pre-orders. So, in this blog, one of the things they did is they announced all of their 2026 releases that are coming out. So, well ahead of time, they're saying everything that's getting worked on and what their dates are. The other part that I found really interesting is they released the results of a survey they did about friendly local game stores. The survey questions were, which place did you use the most for buying games? And if it's different than your previous answer, which place are you hoping to use more for buying games
In 2026 or
in
2025 versus
2026?
2026. And if you don't mind, I will read some of
No,
those
go for it.
stats. 21% of the respondents to the first question, where did you buy most of your games, bought their games via the local game store, hobby, and bookstores in 2025. But for that follow-up question, where do you believe you're hoping to buy? Where will you buy, or where do you believe you'll buy games in 2026? 33.2% said that they'll be buying their games from local game stores mainly. So that is almost exactly a 50% increase from 21 to 33.2%. And ICV2, this is coming from an ICV2 source. We're saying that it's very encouraging to see that the data from the tabletop fans of Stonemaier would prefer to buy their games at local game stores in 2026. And this is in line with a trend of independent retailers flourishing in 2025, heading into 2026.
The
So
other
that's
part of the
good
data
store.
I found, yeah, the other part of the data I found really interesting is it was only 16% of the respondents that said they received their games in 25 from crowdfunding. And did you see what percentage said they would crowdfund next year?
I did not see. This is really interesting stats. Tell me.
2%. 2%.
Wow. 2% said that they're going
Around
to.
2% said they were looking to buy their games in 26 from crowdfunding campaigns.
Oh, no. That is interesting. Maybe what
Now,
I now that
I
could be
think
interpreted two ways.
this
Let's
could be this is a Stonemaier audience being asked by Stonemaier.
right.
And famously, Jamie was really big into crowdfunding early, but then
Correct.
had a whole series of articles and decided not to crowdfund any further. So this could be reactionary, that the Stonemaier audience is telling Stonemaier that they don't crowdfund.
It would be interesting to see this in a wider audience, these questions. And if you think a little bit about it, it could also be that a given gamer might still want to buy more, right, from local game stores, or just want to go out and acquire games. But as they look at games on crowdfunding, they're more selective and therefore don't spend as much there. It could be
I
taken a
think
bunch of ways.
I think it comes to the definition of shopping. If I'm going to shop for games, that's not crowdfunding. If I shop for games, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
go online or to a local game store.
Yep.
Whereas if there's a game I want, if it's on crowdfunding, maybe I'll get it there.
Very, very
So
interesting
semantics.
article. Maybe since we have stated categorically that Stonemaier slash Jamie is like the best marketing person in the industry, maybe we should have him run one of these surveys for the rest of the industry. Think he'll do that for us? Probably not, but that's okay.
No.
Yeah, he's a great guy, but he's got to focus on his his wheelhouse. So very good on Stonemaier. I love to see these kind of things very transparent for everybody. This, by the way, Corey, is the definition of a slow news week, which makes a lot of sense because now we're going to go to slow season news-wise, and we're going to start to see people waiting on Gamma, to when we're going to get some
Yep.
bigger announcements. So we'll wait on that,
Breaking news, my
probably.
hair is particularly fluffy today.
Uh, yeah, that's so. Thank you.
Breaking news.
And with that, let's get to strategy and tactics. It's so great that you have to put things in to our show about your hair, which you need a haircut, by the way. But anyway,
I was thinking about it. It's fluffy.
let's get to our good friend, very big fan of the show, but just good friend, Christine McCullough at
Gosh, she's awesome.
at Woogie's, and asking the question on October 15th. So you can see we're closing in on real time questions here. She goes, let's talk about deluxe copies of games. When is it too much? I love playing Castles of Burgundy. Before the deluxe version, I could easily set it up and play, but the new board game graphics are overwhelming and I am lost. Before BGG at Sea, a friend and I knew how to play the base game of Alhambra. Okay, she's going with a different one here. I love it. We pulled out the deluxe game. I was overwhelmed by the endless bags and pieces in the
Totally
box.
I totally get the sentiment.
It was a BGG library copy, so that's why it wasn't her copy. It was from the
Yeah,
BGG
of course.
library on the cruise. Questions: should these deluxe games have better inserts or better stated, better organization when you purchase them to make them less overwhelming? Start one question at a time. She asked three questions. So what is
Yeah,
it on? Is there an impetus? Is there
I totally get the gist of this question. So,
yep.
deluxe games, I'm totally for them. They're gorgeous, they're beautiful. Love having a blinged out copy of a game that I really like. The
Mhm.
one that I just received in the mail was Food Chain Magnate. The blinged out one from Lucky Duck Games, gorgeous. The question behind it, I think this is what Christine is getting at, is if you have a bigger and bigger and bigger blinged out copy, you by necessity need more and more hand holding to help people set up, play, and put away.
Yep.
So, yes, absolutely. Inserts, organization. Come on, publishers, we need that little sheet of how to put the game away. Too many games have a beautiful insert and nothing about how to use it and
You
where the
have no
pieces
idea where to put
go.
things, but there is a space for everything, but you don't even know where they go. Another way of doing this, the Dice Tower does this in their game library, is that they bag everything. They don't even any insert that comes, unless it's like, well, any insert that comes, I think they just throw away. They bag everything, and then it says on it like, like expansion so and so and what it's for. So then you can pull out the pieces that you want.
Playtesting question.
What is that?
Do you throw away inserts?
Okay, well, we'll get to that because we need more questions. But okay. So anyway, so Christine, I think we agree with you that um, the publisher should be giving you a means
Yeah.
of organizing a massive game. Now, I think most of them give you a decent means, but Corey's statement, like, where does everything go? That's certainly not everybody does that. Okay, next part of
There's certain ones that are absolutely blinged out super duper copies that don't have good organization. I totally agree.
right. One is playing with every expansion too much. Now I'm going to take this one.
Always.
Well, I'm going to take this one. I mean, I'm more in general. I'm more of a purist when it comes to games. I'd rather just play the base game usually, unless it's a you must play with this expansion. And there are certainly games.
Absolutely.
Terraforming Mars, right here next to my head with Prelude. It's like you must play with Prelude. Um,
Yeah, but don't play with all the expansions.
unless one and their friends, associates say, today we will play with everything. And then you mentally put that into your head that this is going to be a 6 hour Terraforming Mars experience because they've got a new map that people aren't as used to. They've got colonies. You're going out to colonies to do trades. They got turmoil. They got politics in the game. And and then by the way, in Venus, we're working on Venus too. So you got the five expansions there. I I it's not my style of playing a game. I'd rather focus on the game and play the game. I agree with you, Chris. I see where Christine is
I
going.
think the question there, should you play with every expansion? I think that's almost universally no. If you say, should you play with every expansion, I'm assuming there's more than one, because you wouldn't say every expansion if there's
Yeah,
only one.
but
And I agree with you that I like to play base games. When I know the game, there's often an expansion that does improve it in my mind,
yeah,
but not always, not
not always,
always.
not always, not always.
But I
Um,
would never
I,
ever play Terraforming Mars with all the expansions.
I,
There's certain expansions I would always play with.
yeah, I wouldn't either, but I don't diss people who are going to do that because you should
Sure,
set
sure,
that
sure.
up in people's minds beforehand. They're there to create a shared experience of this huge game. I know
Yep.
people who play with two copies, and then they're like terraforming different parts of Mars.
Dr.
It's
Jason, friend of the show, plays with two copies.
that's and then your like your parameters. They use extended global parameters to do all
Yeah.
the. Oh my god, it's yeah.
And then the whole thing of, okay, Carcassonne, are you going to play with every expansion?
That's just
I
crazy because
don't
I
think
think
it's
some of them.
possible.
I don't. Yeah, they don't. I think some of them just conflict. I don't think you would possibly play with
I
every
have
Carcassonne.
that mindset around expansions that there's a jillion, you pick a couple, it makes it interesting. Next time you
Yeah,
pick something
yeah.
different.
That is mine as well. How would y'all? She's a little southern. How would y'all fix this issue with deluxe versions of Castles of Burgundy and Alhambra, for example? I think we've given our opinion on how we would.
Yeah,
Very good organization in the box. Now,
absolutely.
BGG maybe didn't have that. I don't know. I've never seen their versions of these two games. But also then there's the other thing, of course, publishers, please tell people how to put things away, and then that also makes things easier to bring out, right? If my
Absolutely.
X expansion goes into this slot or these slots, well, then I know, okay, I don't want to play with that, so they stay in those slots in the organizer.
I
Very
think
cool.
that's a big one. Keep the expansion separate from the base so that
Yeah.
when you open the box, you can very easily see, oh, this is the blinged out base game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's play
Correct.
with that.
Correct. All right, Tiago Ali de Oliveira Bueno. He's at Tiago Aub. Uh, he says, on a game gathering, how do you organize the games played? From the time I had big gatherings at home, I usually started with party games, quick games, and a lot of players type games, big player type
Yeah.
games. Then, when there was sufficient people on the gathering, I would push for some light to medium games with 4 to 6 people in each game. And late in the night, those gatherings usually went for 16 straight hours. In his case, the survivors would gather around one or maybe two tables to play a really big game. I think, in general terms, that's not bad. But I don't.
I kind of go a different order. Uh, so I just finished up a big gathering that was a 4-day event, and we had probably 20, 25 people cycling in and out around the event.
Wow.
When people first start arriving, it tends to be two-player games, three-player games, lighter games. And when people first arrive at an event, there's chitty chat and socializing and snicky snacking and how are you doing? It's usually day two, and I'm also going to consider that like more towards the middle and early that I do the big giant games that take forever. Although we do have some crazy people. Barry and his friends got into a game of Zaya, which is a massive sandbox space game. They started at midnight or 1 in the morning and went on through the night. Um, and then late at night, I tend to do the light games, party games, when the brain power is going away.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day in New Jersey, when I had a huge gaming space in my house, my game closet was there. Anybody can take a game and play a game. They decided. My game days started with a big poker tournament, so there's always a million people in the house, and
Oh, wow.
so we would start with a 36, sometimes 40. I would try to constrain it to 36 people. Four big tables of people playing in a tournament poker style, and then as the gamers showed up, they would just start breaking into groups and start breaking into groups. And like Paula would kind of manage the gamers, and while I was having to manage the poker tournament to keep it running, and I'd play in it. So it's my experience there is a little bit different, but I Tiago's ideas are pretty good. You kind of start light, you end light, and you said that too. And then in the middle, just let people play what they want to play as you have enough people to create multiple tables. Play a big heavy thing, go for it. Want to continue playing light or
The
medium,
only
go for it.
the only thing I want to add to this is the question is how do you organize the games played? And short answer is I don't.
Yeah, I
Or
agree with
all
that.
these things I talk about happen organically.
I agree with that, and I mean it's great when game teachers show up, right? Because they'll say like, "I'm going to teach everybody this. Anybody who wants to play this game," and they'll put it on a table. They'll get to the max player or whatever player count they want. They'll start playing that game. That helps people who are not good with rules jump on a game. That they want. They can play with somebody. So I agree. Organically is the best way. Brian Carroll, who's at I can't even do this.
WRS Mad Sci.
WRS.madsci. Where's madsci? Okay, Brian. Yeah, Brian's always contributing in playtesting. This is a I don't never saw his handle before. I apologize up front if this topic has been beaten to death, but digging through and finding all the info related to it is proving difficult. Let's say someone like him has a concept for a game that is very tied to its theme, but it is very much a passion project. I'm told that bringing a game to a publisher can result in a complete overhaul of the game itself, including things such as theme, mechanisms, etc. If your intent is preserving the theme and feel behind the initial design, is it a good idea to try pitching it to a publisher? Okay, well, first of
Yeah,
all, go
yes.
ahead. I mean, if you want to become your own publisher, then you can. That's why we have crowdfunding now. You can just take it, do all the work, get it on crowdfunding with your theme, your mechanics, and everything. But for the most part, games that go through a publisher, which get extra development, end up to be better games. Whether they get crowdfunded or not, they just ended to be better games because there's more people, more minds helping you. And you could theoretically sign a contract with a publisher that says you must keep this theme. You could. It's not normally what is done in contracts with designers, but you could. It's all negotiated.
Now,
If you
what
number
I
two,
would put in there, if
go
it's a
ahead.
passion project, that's implying creative control. So you got to
Mm-hmm.
be careful. If you have a game and it's a passion project and you want it this way, period, then maybe you want to self-publish. If it's a
Very
game that's
good
very,
point.
very tied to the theme, have faith that the publisher may see this as well. If you present it with a certain theme, maybe they're going to want to keep that theme.
Right.
And then there's that whole other thing. If you have a passion project that is tied to the theme of, say, Star Wars, good luck. You're not going to get it.
Well,
Uh,
the answer in that case, you've got to really go to
Pitch
a
to Fantasy Flight, who
small.
has Star Wars.
You got it. Well, you got to go to an Asmodee company. Could be Office Dog. Could be Fantasy Flight. You got to go to one of their studios, or someone who has access to the big boy IPs. I always say WizKids. WizKids has access to D&D. They have access to Star Trek easily. Less so in the Disney
Yeah.
stuff, but they do. But they do have the Marvel stuff, so they have access to all of the stuff. I recently brought
Yes.
somebody to WizKids because I said, okay, I think they could get this for you because there was one of those this person really wanted to get this IP on their game, so I brought it over.
There you go.
Um, Number two, if you do pitch to a publisher, is it common or even possible to include some level of creative control of the theme and art to ensure the game fits the original concept? Well, first of all, yes,
Absolutely.
yes, and the publisher wants to keep you, the designer, happy, but don't be a jerk about it, I guess is a good way. If they've done art and the art is
Yeah.
really good, don't try to say, well, that sword needs to tilt by another 3 degrees or else it doesn't make sense for my character. Just try to
Be reasonable.
be reasonable in all of this. And they,
Now,
in the end, they will win a
yeah.
contract dispute almost definitely if you are going down that kind of road.
If you go into the pitch saying, I demand it stays with this theme, then remember you're presenting a certain set of criteria, your game, the quality of your game, how much creative control you want, and they're coming back with what they want out of it. If you come in just guns blazing that you need complete and utter creative control, you're probably not going to land the pitch.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Very, very, very much, especially with that pitch. If you get too arrogant in a pitch, doesn't matter who you are, you're probably not getting your game in. You could be Ryan Knizia and well, he doesn't usually do his own pitches probably, but he has people to pitch. But anybody coming in and saying, I have to have this, I have to have it, you're probably not going to sign that game. Number three, or is the only real role of the original designer, once it gets into the processes at the publisher, to have their name slapped on it, even if the end result ends up quite different from the original concept
Now,
and intent.
this is incredibly variable. The contracts are all over the place.
Right?
The examples I'll put out there is the old school Christian Peterson Fantasy Flight games. Those had you gave up all creative control. You sold the game to the publisher. They did whatever they wanted with it. You had no say. Nowadays, that's really rare. It's always a bit of a compromise going on. How much it is contract to contract.
Absolutely. Exactly that. Publishers want you involved. You're another body. You're another mind. You're another
And
person
honestly,
reviewing.
you'll do some of the work.
Exactly. Jeff and I mean, every game is going to be the same thing. If you want to be involved, you're involved. And Jeff and I, for our game, we reviewed the files, reviewed any mechanic changes that they wanted, everything.
And some
It worked
designers
out well.
don't want to be involved. Some designers want to just sell it and forget it.
So, right. Absolutely. That is a possibility too. All right. He keeps going. If not going through a publisher, what's the best way of getting others on board, like developers to refine mechanism and balance? That you got to go out to BGG. There are forums out there, are people who will sell services to you for
Yeah.
development. And
And
that's
remember, playtesting is different than development.
absolutely. There are playtesting groups that will usually just do it for free. Maybe in the end they get a copy of the game kind of thing. Developers go deeper into it. They've got status, some of these people, so that they will really work deeply and they'll guarantee they're going to play it X number of times. And the game could take 2 hours to play and they're going to guarantee they're going to play it 8
And
times. So
it's a
big time commitment.
hard job. Developing is a very difficult, unsung job in
Yep.
board games. So expect to pay for good development,
Absolutely.
and significantly. You should.
You should. Lastly, number 5, if not going through a publisher, how much of a risk and a lift would it be to actually get the game made? Well, if you know how to do it, all of the nuances, you can do it because you have OPM, other people's money on crowdfunding. If you don't know how to do it, there are resources to go out to say, okay, well, how do
Yeah.
I get a game printed in China? You'd have to go find those. We always talk about Panda Manufacturing out there. They're the biggest service
The
agency.
good news is we have a very open industry. So if you ask questions, you will inevitably find people who can give you good advice.
Yep.
There's very few people in this industry who
Yep.
are going to say, I'm not going to tell you it's a secret.
Right. At the risk of getting canceled myself, AIs are going to be really good at doing things like, really good at things well, is there like a list of game manufacturers in China or across the world, and they will come up with quite an extensive list that you can then harvest
But
and
it's a
use.
personal industry. You really want to know someone who works for one of the manufacturers and you want to talk to them. And they want your business. They want to help you.
And a really good way of putting this also for people is that if you get yourself out to conventions, talk to publishers, they will give you contacts.
Yeah.
If you don't know any publishers, I mean, if you don't know people, you're not gonna have that really close introduction to a developer or to a distributor later on, right? Or to like PSI, the consolidator level, or to, of course, the
Yeah.
manufacturers out in
I think
China mostly.
the big danger, the big pitfall of all of these questions is if you have a passion project, if you have a game design, and you decide to do it yourself, self-publish or crowdfund, remember what you love might not be what anybody else loves. It's always better to put it in front of more people. It's always better to get more opinions. Be very be very leery of the Dunning-Kruger effect that you feel you're the very best at designing your game.
Absolutely, absolutely. He does have a bonus question here, and it's specifically like the mechanisms and theme, like what comes first. Is there a general
Wow.
guideline or a set of standards and rules that folks follow when choosing mechanisms, or they typically
No,
start with the mechanisms and gameplay and add theme from there? And the answer is
no.
everybody's different. Everybody is different.
And every method works if it works for you.
Perfect answer. There you go. Good luck, Brian, with this. It's a struggle, we know, but good luck with it.
It's
And
exciting.
now,
Yeah.
yeah, it's always exciting when you get a new concept, a new game. Hopefully it's going to work out for you. And now we got to go over to play testing.
Ta-ta-ta.
Corey, another great question by you. I hate to say those kind of things to you, but another great question. We had a lot of
Oh, yes, of
answers,
course, of
and
course.
you have stats on this. So, first of all, read the question to us and then
All
provide us
right.
with the stats.
I did a lightning round question. I wanted yes, no answers on things that I always wonder about. So we've got five questions for yes, no. We had our card games, board games, our card shedding games, trick takers, our miniature games, board games, our RPGs, board games, and our CCG, LCGs, board games. Now, I do want to put out a little bit of an apology here. Uh, once again, I am incredibly biased by being an American English speaker. So this is all based on the term board game, which is an American English term. So, of course, people where English is not their primary language, or even if American English is not your primary form of English, there might be a different term for board games, which then changes the whole question,
We
changes
apologize.
all
We
semantics.
apologize for being single
I
language
am what
speakers,
I
basically.
am. I am very guilty of being a single language speaker, although
Ah,
I'm about 80% in German.
yeah, you're pretty good German. But okay, so you want to talk about the stats you gave us, and then we'll talk about specific answers.
So, for the stats, why don't you start talking about some answers? Because I have to find my stats.
Okay, that's not a problem at all. I love so here's a funny thing that you just mentioned the difference in the language. So we have Marco Dobranic, who's always answering questions
That's
for us. Thank you.
exactly the answer I
And
was thinking about.
and he says, for our card games, board games, in English, no. In Croatian, yes. Because here we say, and I can't say it, I wouldn't even try. He says there's a word, or sociable games is the translation. When we organize board game night or board game con, BG night or BG con in Croatia, we imply card games by default. Our card games, our card shedding games, trick taking games. I don't know what card shedding games are, so he's just okay. He doesn't quite get that. Are miniature games board games? No, I agreed with that answer when we took it the other day. Are RPGs board games? No, that's too open. Board games have strict rules and boundaries. It's a very good way of thinking about it. Are CCGs or LCGs board games? And he said yes to that one, which I disagree a little bit, but I love everyone's interpretation of this.
That was the
Cordy,
biggest answer from the stats is that everybody was different.
yeah, there really
And things
was.
I assumed, I thought when I wrote these questions that some of them would be absolute 100% no-brainers, and they weren't. And they
They're
weren't.
none, right? Yep, yep.
So, Ann W. gave a great answer. A game with nothing but cards is a card game. A game that has a board but is mostly cards is still a board game if the game could not be reasonably played without the board. Example, Wingspan is a board game, but Lost Cities is essentially a card game. Lost Cities has a board because it would be easy to play without the board. So I love these little details. A miniature game that requires a board to play, like Wonderland's War, is a board game. A miniature game that could be played with any markings that define that delimit movement is a miniatures game, not a board game. Further, games that just have miniatures as an enhancement are not miniatures games. So, absolutely wonderful answer.
Yeah, I got
So,
Jordan Tom. We got a lot of answers. I'm specifically picking people that I don't remember hearing from. Jordan Thomas, he says, no, she says, I believe, games, mama. Are card games board games? Yes, both are designed with the same constraints and similar experiences. Are card shedding games trick taking games? Yes, it's a subset of the style. Cards are played in a similar style to the traditional trick. I agree there twice on those. Are miniatures games board games? She says yes. Similar to card games and board games, miniatures games follow similar design constraints. I disagree on that one, as I've said. Are RPGs board games? No, RPGs are much more freeform than traditional board games. Are CCGs and LCGs board games? Yes. Similar to card games, LCGs
I
are
think the bottom
more in
line
line.
is you and I are just plain wrong
we,
because I think you and I had exactly the same opinions on
yeah,
these.
it was
Uh,
yes, yes, no, no, no. And I think Agassi said the same thing too. It's interesting.
so the stats. Um, a lot of people put in maybes or depends on the circumstance, and
Oh,
I dropped those answers out.
you must take a
Um,
stance.
so are card games board games? And 82% said yes. Card games are board games. So agreed. Are card shedding games trick takers? Only 25% agreed with that. So I was shocked by that. I thought the generic terms would all blend together, but most people said, no, 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 shedding game is not a trick taker.
I
Are miniature oh, sorry.
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead. You're in the
Are
middle.
miniature games board games? Actually, more agreed. 67%, two-thirds said miniature games are board games.
That's
I was
interesting.
floored by this.
Now,
I
yeah,
thought of that rift as being one of the biggest ones.
yeah, I think maybe we weren't clear. So we're not talking right about like Space Cadets away missions or Battle Lore. I'm pointing to that one right over here behind me. Right? We're talking about
Like
Warhammer
Warhammer,
style, right? That's the classic miniatures game. So maybe we weren't specific enough, but
maybe.
people are grabbing them and bringing them together. I like it. Okay, what else you got there, Corey?
Are RPGs board games? Only 22% said yes. And this I was expecting. I was expecting like zero saying that RPGs are board games.
Agreed.
And finally, are CCG LCGs board games? And I was expecting this to be close to zero as well. 75% said yes.
Holy,
CCG LCGs are
what?
board games.
And what?
75%.
And what were the top two percentages for the card games, board games, and card shedding games, trick taking games? What were those two top ones?
The top,
The
are
top
you
two
asking
questions.
for
Well, yeah, no. To the what is the percentage of people who thought card games are board games and card shedding
80,
games 80?
82?
And then the second one was
The CCG LCG,
no
74.
card shedding games, trick taking games.
Oh, 25% said that shedding games are
Wow,
trick takers.
that's interesting.
So I
So
was really surprised by the answers, and I think we had a significant number of responses. We had 28 responses.
because you removed some stuff, right? We had much more than 28, but you removed some because they were silly ones, and I'm going to mention a silly one. So really, I mean, again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just what you think. Three of the ones here kind of go against what we said. We agreed with the audience. Our card games, board games. We agreed with no, right. We agree didn't agree with card shedding games, trick taking. There was a very high percentage there. We thought they were. People believed miniature games are board games. We don't. RPGs, there was a low one. We
We
agreed
kind
with
of
that one.
agreed, but I
Yeah,
thought 20% was awfully high.
I think it's high too.
I
But
expected single digit.
I'm saying in general, the three of us, because Ignacy was here last week,
Yeah,
basically disagree with our audience, which we could be wrong, but there's no such thing as right or wrong. It's whatever you want.
I'm never wrong.
You're never wrong. Mad Al. I'm sorry, Al Mad, not Mad Al. His reply I'm going to take because it's ridiculous. Number one, are apple trees pear trees? Number two, everything is a trick taking game these days. So yes, and also chess. So of course, miniature games are not played in the air. Four, no, don't argue. That's the RPG games. And five, see answer to number one about CCGs, LCGs are apple trees, pear trees. They just, you can't compare them, I guess. I like that. And he gives a little note at the bottom. Not all tabletop games are board games, in my opinion, but cards, boards, RPGs, and miniatures only define definitely are tabletop. Yes, of course, they're tabled.
And
Everything here is a tabletop game.
that
But
was a big thing is people kept coming in with the term is tabletop games.
BGG should henceforth be renamed to TTGB, tabletop game boards, board games, I guess. Tabletop, what would that be? He says TTGB. Maybe just tabletop board games, he means? I don't know. TTBG. Anyway, I love these answers, and I love the passion behind the crazy answers that we
I
have here.
love it because I was surprised.
Yeah,
Every time I put up a question and I get responses like this, I'm just thrilled because my assumptions are wrong. I love that.
I love it too. So, Corey, of course, as usual, you've created a great question for us for next week. Would you like to tell us what question you're putting here?
So this week, it's often said that board games lag behind video games by a set number of years, usually 2, 3, 4, 5 years, people talk about. We're following in their footsteps. Do you think board games will ever lose the rule book in line with video games? Because video games lost their rule books almost entirely, probably in the 90s. It's been a while. We are several years behind on this. Do you think it's ever going to happen?
I'm going to say it will not happen because board games span. not just us who are very technologically oriented. I think that when people go and buy something on a shelf with the physical components that they will be playing, they want to see a physical rule book with it, not a QR code that directs them to a rule book. What do you think?
Uh, I think we will see a genre of board game that loses the rule book. And it'll be a jump in, experiential, heavy tutorial type of game. There'll probably be a reference online, but I don't think it'll become an industry-wide thing. But I think we will see a genre that has that.
So something like Dized will become very mainstream for most publishers. Is that what you're
Maybe,
saying?
maybe that's a prediction. No, this is
Please,
independent of how
please,
you learn a game. It's independent of Dized.
please note that Dr. Corey Thompson is a part owner of Dized. And they do an amazing, amazing job.
I'm not
They did,
talking about do you need the rule book to learn the game?
yes,
I'm
I know.
talking about are there games that'll come out without rule books and probably use tutorials within the game as a substitute, because that's what video games did.
Very, very cool. So I have already created a thread on BGG for you to answer
You're
this
so good.
playtesting question because Corey is incapable. By the way, what was that question you had for playtesting? You have to add it now down here. Of course, we forgot it.
I
We have
know,
to,
I forgot
yeah,
already
we'll
because
go back and review it. We'll figure
I
it
have
out
the
as we
memory of
review.
a gnat.
There we go. So please go to the guild on BGG, find the playtesting thread for the question and post your answer, and we'll likely take it, especially you new guys out there. New guys, new gals, go post the question. In the meantime, let's go to the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening and help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. If you want to be part of this podcast, you can go over to our guild on Board Game Geek. Make sure you're a member. We're over 1,500 strong, about the third biggest, fourth biggest. We're pretty high up there. Become one of the insiders. Ask us questions for strategy and tactics. Answer our question to you from the playtesting segment. It's pretty simple to do it, and I know you guys are smart, and you can at the guild on Board Game Geek. And please interact with us on social media. And the handle is the same whether you like to use Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, or YouTube. It's at Board Games Insider, Portal Games US, Podfather Gaming, Dice Tower Dish, Play to Z Games, Above Board TV, and you will get to us. Choose the one you like. Talk with us. And we'd love to see you in person at an upcoming convention. So that's going to be really soon with Corey over at Geekway Mini, right? Are you going?
Geekway Mini?
Yeah. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe
Who
not.
knows?
Okay. Maybe not. I heard a rumor. We'll see. We'll see if he shows up. And of course, if you're going to be in Australia, I'm going to be there. So I'll see you at during the month of February, almost the entire month of February. I'll be there on two different cruises. That that great voice you hear doing the intro, the outro in between segments is that of Ray Greenlee, and he can be contacted to do your voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. And BGI, Board Games Insider, was professionally edited by Jake Thompson. Thank you for being part of this podcast, Jake. Thank you. Corey, you've already written something here at the end while we say goodbye. What
I
have you written?
did. So I had very, very recently, cutting edge, read a nerd tangent article that I think is fascinating. At the Consumer Electronics Show, which just finished up, Lego announced Lego Smart Play and Lego Smart Bricks. These are a normal Lego brick. This is a 2 by 4 standard size thick brick, but inside it has accelerometers, a speaker, lights, near field Bluetooth. When these bricks are near each other, they respond in programmable ways. So they had neat little videos where you built a series of little ducks out of Legos, and when you put them together, they quack, and when you move them along, they make a quacking noise like a little train. There's
Wow.
bricks where if you put your minifig next to the brick, it lights up, or it responds to the minifig, or a speaker starts playing something from the minifig. It is an incredible piece of tech. Just how much stuff is inside these tiny things. You know, the little flat, smooth tile bricks?
Yeah, those. Yeah,
They have those smart. So when that is next to the smart brick, the standard size, it makes the smart brick do things.
and you can program each brick individually. I guess is really what you can
They
do,
hinted
right?
at it a whole bunch. I didn't
Oh,
see exactly what the programmable element is, but I have no idea how they would have done these demos without programming. They're going to come with
well,
default abilities
yeah.
in
Well,
sets.
so
Like if you
right.
have too many figs of Star Wars figures, you could put them here and then go meow, meow, meow,
Where they
and
can
they
go
make all the
pew pew
noises. And
pew pew
oh yeah,
pew. That is
I
really neat.
love this.
I mean, obviously
So this
they've
literally was announced like yesterday.
yeah, obviously they've programmed said bricks, so therefore, it's going to be interesting if they expose the API that you could then go in, with an app and go and reprogram them or program the ones that are more generic bricks, and then make your walking dog Lego react to you or to something,
Oh
rub
yeah,
it rub against the wall, something.
they
I don't know.
sense the presence of other bricks and how far away they are, and accelerometers, and just the fact that there's a little tiny speaker inside a Lego brick. Oh my God.
That
And little
sounds
lights that
amazing.
are LED. The lights could be different colors and different LEDs, and it was absolutely amazing. I'm still going through the details of all the different things that these smart bricks can actually do.
That sounds truly amazing. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, that's all we have for this week, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.
See you later, everyone.